by the KDP Standards Authority. That incident, by the way, also lead us in the KDP, and I'd like to believe in other media as well, other medium, to a self-re-examination among us members of the broadcast industry. With the KDP's initiative, network officers, news and program directors then met several times, so many times actually. We discussed things and the broadcast code. We decided later to amend some of the provisions of the code which was dealing on crisis situation. We now have that in our existing code of ethics. Of course, self-regulation is not only the coverage of hostage taking. Among others, we also have accreditation examinations, which is geared also towards, coming up with a standard that's expected of us. We conduct seminars of great professionalism with the members of the ADP. We have connection with the students also. We have based tie-up. And we also have a system of receiving and hearing complaints from the public. And our code, mind you, has penal clauses in all of this. Those especially found violating the broadcast standards. In this system, we are not only interested in punishing the violators, but also in having the violator learn from their mistakes. In our organization, there is an aversion to being cited for violating the broadcast code. Others are saying that the fines that were imposed were paltry, were small, but to be found guilty or to be found and branded as a violator is something for any one of us, including us in KDP. So, what we have today is by no means a perfect system. That is what I am saying. However, this imperfect system that we have is a working one. It's sort of a work in progress. That's why we just have to be patient. You have to be understanding. You have to work it out. You have to help each other out, the print and the broadcast, in order for this self-regulation system that we have preserved and strengthened. And we have no other recourse. It's mentioned by Dean Teodoro that is our only option. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Johnny, would you like to jump in already into the discussion? Sure.
Kalapating mababang lipad. Let me repeat that. Kalapating mababang lipad is Pinoy shorthand for prostitute or harlot. And Dean Teodoro's paper is about lapses in ethical practice, failure is endangering our self-regulation. In other words, kalapating mababang lipad is our problem that is really raising the threat of a threat to our own efforts at self-regulation. For instance, he mentions this rider and the Antonino bill, which is really inserted in, and in the inquiry we were the first time want to bring it to the attention. And the excuse is always abuse of media, kalapating mababang lipad. Now, Ms. Nick has done a very good one on effects of their investigation into the Luneta incident where 8 hostages were killed, right? And I think it is commendable. They said, okay, we had the Kalapating Bababang Lipan. We had reporters who batted into negotiators, and we have corrected that. This afternoon, I just like to move from broadcast to print, because the experience in print media is much longer, but it is just as mixed as we have in broadcast. Print, of course, antedates media broadcast. That is why in William Pitt, who was Prime Minister in 1806, said, the press, print press, is free like the air. It is the chartered libertine. What does it mean? In today's English, that means the print media of the press at the time is a constitutionally protected prostitute because of their useless. But Kalapating Bababang Lipan becomes problematic when you have internet, cell phone, Facebook. They move truth or falsehood at warp speed. In the past, the scoop would stay until the next edition. Today, that falsehood stays until the next click of the mouse, right? News organizations are beginning to abandon the race to be first to break the news. They are instead trying to be their best at verifying. Now, how does this affect self-regulation? History is a good teacher. In 1965, many of you journalists today, and many of our students were not even born, the first press council was established. The chairman was Chief Justice Alejo Labrador. And one of the first cases, you don't remember now, was its decision because two criticizing publication of 10 outstanding congressmen selected by reporters covering the congressional meeting. The decision of the press council was printed directly the next day that award happened. And then, very quietly, reporters on the business beat canceled their own one, which was an indication of what, in other words, let's make it. It was the first, I'm quoting now from Marcos and Martial Law by Cornell University. This 1965 Press Council was the first significant attempt to establish a system of professional control. But, sometimes the council only had a brief history. Complaints were few, and martial law aborted this initiative. Then People Tower came. Maybe some of you were born then. But anyway, for those who were not there, the press council was reconstituted. But then there was one very interesting case. The Miriam School supervisor was a man named Antonio Calitugo. And he systematically documented flaws in public school textbooks. Then, as I'm quoting now inquiry.